Town of Otter Creek must, by its ordinances, legally provide every single resident a backflow preventer. What did they do with my $2,300 and some odd dollars? And what did they do with everybody else's? Otter Creek is in the news again. Front page in the Chiefland Citizen, and yeah, even Channel 20 in Gainesville is running ads. I feel like I live Garbage Pail Kids. Like it's a reality. Last town council meeting, there was a ton of people in attendance. And there's another one coming up in just a number of days. Yep, I'm flying back to Florida. I absolutely will be there, and I promise you, there will be plot twists like you've never ever dreamed. And I'm about to share another one with you right now. Let's focus on this last meeting. Remember what Don told me? The bills and the paper. Let's discuss just a little bit of the corruption of the town of Otter Creek. Just a little bit. Now remember, everything that's going on with Otter Creek and a lawsuit that I have against them, it wouldn't be wise for me to share everything with you. But I'm about to share public information with you, not private with attorney-client privilege, okay? So what I can share with you is anybody's information to go and grab and get at any point in time. So Don wants to say that Russell is not corrupt. Now let's move back to 2021, where Jeremy and George move into what we thought was going to be a peaceful Otter Creek, and we then tried to tap into the town's water. At that point, we are told that we have to spend $2,300 and some odd dollars on a meter to move water back to our home and our property. We need a 2-inch pipe because our water travels over 1,100 feet further than anybody else's water. If we don't have a bigger pipe, then what happens is we have no flow of water. It will literally trickle instead of flow. So we have to have a bigger pipe so that it actually pushes the water back all the way to the home. So we take on that expense. But whose responsibility is it truly to add all of that meter in and make sure it's the right meter? Well, it's Russell Meeks. As a matter of fact, after all the job was done, George, remember when Russell pulled up to us and said, "We got that meter in for you"? And I'm sitting there going, really? You didn't have nothing to do with it. But I did have to hire the town plumber to put it in. Look at this. This is the location of the old water meter. 3/4 inch, and we need 2 inches to get 1,100 feet out that way. Literally digging into the main. There's the main pipe right there. You're gonna have to connect that in. That's another $2,600 I think I'm paying just to connect. After a long day of work, that's the old meter. And they had some issues. But there's the truck. The new meter is in. That is a 2-inch line. Now to go 1,100 feet back into the woods is going to cost $12,000. This is what 1,100 feet, yes, 1,100 feet of trenched line looks like. We didn't get to choose our actual meter. It is a definite meter that the town says you must have. They pick it. We don't. We have no choice over that. It is what we have to pay for based on what they say has to be done. It's like living in an HOA. The point is this: we have to put in what they tell us to put in. And we would think, oh man, there's going to be a backflow preventer, right? I mean, this is mandatory in almost everywhere in the United States. Why would anybody not put a backflow preventer in? Why would that not be in the meter anyway, right? I mean, we're not digging it up. We're not doing the inspection. We're not going, oh, that's the right thing. We're just writing a check and going, all right, this is what we have to do. That was not wise on our part.
You requested a 2-inch meter.
No.
Your plumber called me personally.
If you remember the last meeting, this whole issue of backflow preventers came up yet again, to the point of where I state, I'll pay for it for the entire town. And then later I tell you, listen, I should never have to do this. The town should have to do this. Now I'm going to share with you why the town should have to do this.
All it would take would somebody have like a filter on their house and put fentanyl in it, and it backflow into the system. That's why y'all should be really looking at a grant or something to put check valves on every single person's line. That way it also saves on the pressure, it saves on the pumps. You're not burning out your equipment, but you're also ensuring that everybody's bill is correct and that it's not because you have filters that are, your pumps are weak or they're old. You basically protect your people by a $30 part for everybody. And what's that, $3,000? It would cost less than $10,000 for this community.
I'll donate the money for it if you will do it for the people. I will give the money for it if you will do it for all the people. I don't need to do it. You have grant money for your water. It should have already been done. Somebody in the community shouldn't have to step up and go, I'll do it. It literally should have already been done under the previous administration. 2017, Ordinance of the Town of Otter Creek, 2017-02, pages 261 through 265. By the way, plot twist, Russell's never going to see this coming. And this is a huge issue for the town of Otter Creek. As a matter of fact, the town of Otter Creek, what I'm about to share with you, you all can gather together and form a class action suit against the town of Otter Creek. Maybe you'll win all their park property, and maybe we can all get together and actually make a park for the people. Maybe we'll get all the assets and actually do something. Maybe we can all get together, get town hall, turn it into a museum. Maybe we can get the fire truck station and actually put a fire truck in there. Let's do something together. This is a lot of information in these pages, but I'm just going to go with it here with you. Section 1, the purpose. The town council declares that for the health and safety and the welfare of the citizens and the visitors to the town of Otter Creek, Florida, as well as the continued supply of water, requires regulation of the quality and the flow of water within the town. Number 1, to protect the public water main against actual and potential cross connections, backflow by back pressure and back siphonage, by isolating within the premises the private property, contamination or pollutants that has occurred and may occur because of some of the undiscovered and unauthorized cross connection of the premises of private property. You're getting this, right? This is all about the town's responsibility. They voted in a resolution for what? Backflow preventers. Every single resident in Otter Creek, the town is responsible for their backflow preventers. Got Lonnie and his crew out here, and this is the check valve that's going in. So unbeknownst to me, when my meter went in, I had no check valve. See that there? So what that does is that protects me when the pressure goes down in Otter Creek. Then it doesn't siphon all my water back into the main line and then push it back through the meter. So this is the easy fix right here. Lonnie, how much am I paying for this?
The check valve was $60, the other parts and the labor comes to $138.
Okay, $138 right there to protect myself. And so we got the best in the business on the job here today. Remember when I originally called you and I told you the meter was spinning backwards?
Yes.
Yeah, and so, yeah, so a rare occasion when that happens. Listen up, residents of Otter Creek. Every one of you should be suing Russell. Cross connection controlled by the contaminant means that the installation of an approved backflow prevention assembly at the water service connection to any customer's premises, that's you, where it is physically and economically infeasible to find and permanently eliminate or control, or all actual potential cross-connection isolations consist of two types: fixture isolation of an area or zone isolation. Isolation at a fixture means installing an approved backflow preventer at the source of a potential contamination. Isolation at an area or a zone is confining to the potential source of a contamination within a specific area. Isolation may be appropriate with or without contaminants, depending on whether the conditions create a health or non-healthy hazard. Basically this: water connections means the terminal end of a service connection from the public water system, i.e. where the water purveyor loses jurisdiction and sanitary control over the water at its point of delivery to the customer's water service. This just blows my mind. If a meter is installed at the end of the service connection, then the service connection shall mean the downstream at the end of the meter. There shall be no unprotected takeoffs from the service line ahead of any meter or backflow prevention assembly located at the point of delivery of the customer's water service. Service connection shall also include water service connection from a fire hydrant to all other temporary or emergency water services, connections for the public water system. The town of Otter Creek must, by its ordinances, legally provide every single resident a backflow preventer. What did they do with my $2,300 and some odd dollars? And what did they do with everybody else's? They are on purpose corrupting themselves. Russell Meeks Sr. is corrupt. What did they do with the money that I paid that should have had a backflow preventer in it in the first place? Where is everybody else's money? And why are they putting the health and safety of every single resident in Otter Creek at risk? Why? Because he's corrupt. The bills and the paper. This is one issue in hundreds. And what you're going to find, little innocent Mary is not innocent at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be point blank with you. She's evil. She is downright dirty and evil, and at the center of all of this with Russell. Laura Mott is a problem. Laura Mott actually approved a resolution illegally that isolated me. They're all part of this. And now they're going to go, well, we didn't know. I'm sorry, but we didn't know isn't a defense in the court of law. If you're running for council, you better know your town resolutions. This is the other illegal thing, okay? This is the corrupt thing. They legally must uphold these things. So here they are. Oh, I'm going to run for town council. They know nothing. They read nothing. They're legally liable to uphold all of this. And if they don't, that's corrupt. No, what we want to do is we just want to get in there and we want to do whatever we want to do because this is our club. We don't want the outsiders a part of this. This is only the insiders. Well, an outsider is about to destroy you in court. Literally destroy you. And every other insider should do the same thing, filing lawsuit against Laura Mott, filing lawsuit against Mary DeGroot, filing lawsuit against Russell Meeks Sr. III. They do not have the best interest of the town at play. But there's good news. I believe the new administration has the townspeople in the heart of what they are all about. They want to do the right thing. They want to be transparent. And I believe they're going to do the right thing. And I believe they're going to uncover things that were wrong for how many years. And they're going to let the people know. And they're going to show the people so the people all can respond accordingly and vote accordingly in the future. The town is in a tremendous amount of legal liability. I loved it when we shared all of our water issues and we've got townspeople actually commenting on our videos saying, you're responsible for your plumber putting in a backflow preventer. You're a fool. How about you actually educate yourself? Do you think, this is like security. If we tell you everything that our security actually is, then we're never secure, right? If we tell you everything that we're going to court over, then that'd be pretty foolish to show your cards to everybody's hand as you go into court. Regardless, I mean, it's illegal. And they have a response. Now, remember, my first lawsuit is only about public records request. Every email they sent is a public record. Every text they sent, even on personal phones, if they used it for communication for the town hall business, it's public record. Every piece of paper is a public record. That means it doesn't matter if I'm in the office, if somebody who knows me is in the office, if somebody I employ is in the office, if George is in the office, or Joe Schmo down the street is in the office. It's public for everyone. The world. The number one job of the clerk, the biggest role of the clerk is to provide public records. That's it. To everyone who requests it. That's it. Now, this job that Mary did, obviously, she left a dump, and I mean a dump behind. And it's really a picture of the way she lives her life. the way her property is, the way other people's property is around this town. It blows my mind. I don't understand how people would want to live that way, or literally how you can live that way. Putting yourself in danger, health at risk, others in danger, their health at risk. This is what they do. And you know what the news does? They cover the story. So let's look at the story. Let's go ahead and look at the Chiefland Citizen. New mayor, vice mayor selected in Otter Creek, June 6. Nick was there at the actual meeting. And so was Cameron with Channel 20 in Gainesville. I have a deal with Channel 20. I've told them they can use any of my footage, and therefore I can use their footage. That deal doesn't transpire over to other people. If you come onto YouTube and you use other people's clips, which we specifically have our YouTube set up to where you cannot use any of our video footage, ever. It's copyrighted, it is intellectual property, it's copyrighted, you may not use it, we have it in our settings, and there will be infringement rights if that happens. We have given permission to certain people, such as Channel 20. All right, that being said, here we go. Otter Creek. Roughly 2 months following the municipal elections in Levy County, the Otter Creek Council is now complete. And it was. The town hall was literally shut for over 2 months. And newly elected council member Therese Granger was sworn in during a special meeting Monday night at Town Hall amongst a crowd of 30 people. Around 30 people. Therese was sworn in and she was gone. And remember, Russ was trying to actually get an illegal meeting. Illegal, just corrupt, because he didn't give 7 days notice. He gave 24. He knew Therese wouldn't be there, and he knew I wouldn't be there, except he was wrong. I was there, and I brought a lot of friends. Newly elected council member Therese Granger was sworn in during a special meeting Monday night at Town Hall amongst a crowd of about 30 people. The 3 other newly elected council members were sworn in at the previous town meeting on May 16th. Granger was not present at this meeting because she was out of town on a mission trip that has been planned for 8 months. And by the way, I've had an opportunity to hear some of her stories from this trip to Israel and see some of the pictures. Mind-blowing and life-changing. I'm so thrilled that she didn't alter her schedule for a corrupt man who illegally canceled a meeting and then illegally rescheduled a meeting, and she went on with life that was planned for 8 months. And it was life-changing for her, as it would be for anybody, I would guess. Okay, so that being said, the appointed of the new mayor and vice mayor was on the agenda for Monday night. And with all members in attendance, the council was able to move forward with the selection. Granger was chosen as the town's new mayor in a unanimous vote by the council. Zim Pageant was appointed vice mayor in a unanimous vote by the council. Again, I could go the same route and go, Don and Russell were refusing to actually give true affirmations.
Russell.
Go with it.
As a matter of fact, they were very, very blatant about their disapproval. Particularly as Nick says here, the gavel was then passed down to the table to Granger. She then shifted the meeting to the town clerk situation. Hold a second. He forgot to mention that the gavel was not passed by Don.
We just slide that down there to the new mayor.
Entering Monday, Otter Creek did not have a town clerk. And this was after the former town clerk, Mary DeGroot, left her position. Now, let's get the facts straight. This is after the former clerk, Mary DeGroot, actually battered me. She pushed me out of a public office. And in Florida, that's battery. And thankfully, I was filming. And thankfully, I believe under this new administration, I won't have to film much longer. But I am flying back to film this next meeting, which I believe is going to be a head spinner. So that being said, Mary quit after she was charged with battery. And we don't get that in these news stories, unfortunately. The former town clerk, Mary DeGroot, left her position. Well, honestly, I don't know that legally she could have stayed in it after she committed battery. At a bare minimum, she should have been time off under investigation. But really, what investigation is there? She was already charged. So there is no investigation. How can you allow a town employee actually stay in a town building in a public? You can't put a public official in a public building where they're battering the public. It just can't happen, okay? So I think it was more of a polite, hey, you need to step down versus she quit. Let's be real. If she didn't get charged with battering me, she wouldn't have quit. All right. And then Russell was asked whether DeGroot retired or resigned. Resigned, if you want to call it that, Meeks said in a response during the meeting. She won't be back. So we don't have a town clerk. Remember,
Ain't no clerk, ain't no show.
Granger then asked for an update on the vacant position on whether a job listing had been posted for it. Councilmember Don Bacon Severino replied by saying that they couldn't discuss this at the meeting. You can discuss anything you want at the meeting. You can discuss business, and why would Don be so against discussing the clerk? Oh, because before Mary, his wife Rose was the clerk. You know who trained Mary? Rose did. There is something deep here that we don't know yet. And I'm not saying that we... All right, let me go this way. There's something so deep here that we've not shown yet. Let's go that route. That's a little bit better. However, Meeks added that they could call for a vote and add it to the agenda. The town clerk vacancy was not included on the original agenda. A motion was made by Pageant to look into an emergency situation clerk until one could be hired correctly. And then it was seconded. And as discussion began about a possible candidates, Meeks told the council it should consider Lynette Preston. Oh my goodness, Turtle Lady. Oh, okay. All right, let me read the whole thing and then let's get into the real story. Meeks told the council it should consider Lynette Preston, who he said has experience and had volunteered to take the minutes at Monday's meeting and was considering applying for the job. All right, first of all, you need to know all over online, she has stated that she was offered the job. Okay, so this is a pathological liar who continues down the road of pathological lies. So she's told everybody she was offered the job. Let's be very clear. Russell Meeks never came to Lynette Preston, Turtle Lady, and offered her the job. Turtle Lady tried to work into Russell to try and get into that position in the first place. So Russell didn't seek her out. As a matter of fact, Turtle Lady and Septic Boy have spent the past couple of years defaming Russell all over town, putting signs up. We've shown this in the past. You can look at the playlist. Putting signs up in the front yard, putting signs up in the post office, doing anything and everything they can by creating a Facebook page all against Russell. Of course, that Facebook page now is all against us, and we're filing defamation and slander lawsuit against both of them. So they shifted. All of a sudden, Turtle Lady is all about Russ. This is so interesting. Now, I'm not going to show screenshots of everything because I've already shown it in a previous video. This woman is insane. And when I say it, I mean it. This woman is probably legally insane. There's something so off about this woman. So remember when Mary was the part-time clerk working 20 hours a week, she was so distraught that they needed to hire another part-time clerk. So they did. They hired another part-time clerk. What was her name, George?
I don't know.
Norma.
Angela and Norma.
All right, so they hired Angela. Now, I got a real sneaky suspicion. Angela did not get hired the legal way, okay? And we're going to find out for sure if that happened or not. Okay, records request. All you have to do is get a records request. And these people are so foolish that they don't understand that everybody can have access to everything they've typed, everything they've said at any point in time. Now, they're holding it back. They have till June 15th to actually give me a response to my legal lawsuit. And on June 13th, we're going to be in a town hall meeting. They're going to have to discuss what their response is going to be, regardless if I'm there or not. Normally, you wouldn't have the plaintiff right there while you discuss what your defense is going to be. But it's public. They have to. It has to be discussed. So, that being said, we go back to Lynette Turtle Lady and her defaming Russell all over the place. her ex-husband, which I have a sneaky suspicion they're only exes so they can actually take more money from the government. Remember, if they're married, less benefits from the government. If they're exes, single, more benefits from the government. I'm pretty sure that's the game they're playing there. But I can't prove that exactly. Well, maybe I can. I mean, they're single. They're living on the same property. He lives in a shed. She's in a camper. They're both living there illegally. Hopefully this administration and town council will actually correct it and do something about it. And so they both get different governmental packages. Anyways, going back to this position. She was never offered the position. She applied for the additional clerk help, and Russell wanted nothing to do with her or anyone else, and she made posts about that. We have screenshots. We've shown it in the past. Now, all of a sudden, Russell's saying, maybe you should consider her. She's telling everybody she was offered the job, which is the biggest joke in the world. Russell's not the mayor. Russell can't offer anything, but she was there to volunteer. Would have loved to have seen those notes. By the way, she took those notes from the town hall office. Now, I'm no expert here. I just pretend to be one on YouTube. But aren't those notes legally town hall owned? And didn't she illegally remove them from the office? That's town hall property. I don't care if you're a paid person or if you're a volunteer. If you are in that position, whether volunteer or paid, you are in that position, and that is town hall property. And that town hall property was removed without the mayor's permission. Not saying that the mayor is even going to want those ridiculous notes. But I'm saying she illegally removed town hall property from the town hall. And who really needed those notes anyway? There's 10 to 15 cameras going on. Anybody can go back and actually look at what actually happened in the meeting. And she was never, ever offered the job. Woman's insane. Insane. So, Meeks told the council it should consider Lynette Preston, which these two hated each other for the past year. But I guess now they've joined together to hate Jeremy, I guess, is what the deal is. How do they feel about you, George?
They've joined forces.
Oh, they hate you. You know, she said that she's kicked you off of her property. When was the last time she kicked you off to her property, George?
Never.
Exactly. All right, it's lie after lie after lie. Who said he had experience and volunteered to take the minutes. Monday's meeting was considering applying for the job. Biggest joke in the world. Paget then mentioned that there was a qualified candidate, Deanna West, in the audience who was also wanting the job on a temporary basis. Paget went on to nominate West for the interim position, which was seconded by the council member Gail Lamb, and Severino followed up by saying that the town clerk opening has to go through a process. No kidding, it has to go through a process. So, Don, if your mayor, Russell Meeks, isn't corrupt, why didn't he start the process when Mary resigned and quit? Why wasn't the process that we have to legally go through started 2 months ago? Oh, because nothing was done. Absolutely nothing. Oh, remember, he doesn't know. Russell doesn't know anything about that office, and yet he knew enough to know what was Mary's personal items and pull them out with Richard.
Do you know, Russell, if their passwords?
Yeah, I do not know.
Yeah. So
You have to go in there and turn it on and find out.
Right.
I had nothing to do with that, that office. That was the clerk's job.
I would like to see if you could get an answer from Russell. What was removed from town hall in the midst of a lawsuit?
What?
Former clerk's
That
personal item.
that's not public comment there.
He says it's her personal items.
Granger replied to Severino's comments by explaining it's an emergency placement, adding that they can place in a person in the role during an emergency while the job postings are running and they receive a look over other applications. In the meantime, it's an emergency placement. Remember what Russell told Channel 20 last time?
It was not an emergency.
And then when all the resumes are received, we can go through them and pick somebody on a permanent basis. This is just a temporary situation so we can advertise it, give people the chance to put in their job, Paget said. And Severino talked about the difficulty of the job and suggested the council reach out to its accounting firm about sending a town clerk who can get the things organized and running. This was the funny thing. Don's going, you can't just put somebody brand new in there who knows nothing. Oh, we're going to reach out to an accounting firm and we're going to put them in that office who knows nothing about that office. It's literally a dump. A dump. How any work was ever done in there, I will never be able to understand. Which the reality is this: no work was done. That's why Mary was there for 20 hours. That's why then somebody, Norma, was brought in. Angela was brought in. I'm telling you, you're going to find out at some point that this job is probably a 10-hour-a-week job, if that. If that. Once the dump is actually cleaned up. You put the right person in there that can actually do a job and actually can do math and doesn't sit there and gossip with the other 3 women or other 2 women, and you're going to find out that this job is a very, very, very simple job. And they've wasted so much of the town's money on this. All right, but Don talked about the difficulty of the job. Ultimately, the council voted unanimously to place West as the interim town clerk as it searches for a full-time. She moves forward with the town's new mayor. Granger explained that her hope and her vision for the residents who were in attendance. I do plan for transparency, she said. Emphasize that. You had a one-man show under Russell who nobody knew anything. Anything except for Mary. And why did he want Mary? Because Mary wasn't intelligent enough to call him out on his garbage. And frankly, Mary was corrupt enough to go with it. So now, why would he want to suggest to the council to put Lynette in there? That's another fool with no IQ, complete and total ignorant individual who would never be able to do the position in the first place, and corrupt enough, a pathological liar, to try and cover things up with them. I do plan for transparency, said Granger. And I do want the town to get involved. I want people to ask questions. I want discussion. I want the town to come together and start doing things together instead of being divided. That's the end of the story that the Chiefland Citizen put up. But let me show you Channel 20's take on it.
Council roster is full for the first time since the municipal elections in April.
But TV 20's Cameron Lund tells us a lot of work is needed to be done by town leaders as the town hall doors stay shut most of the days of the week.
This town meeting here in Otter Creek is over, and now there's a full council and a new mayor. New council member Therese Granger's first 10 minutes on the board started with her unanimously being voted new mayor by her peers. Town leaders also unanimously appointed Deanna West as the new town clerk after the previous one, Mary DeGroot, quit, leaving behind a computer with a password that no one seems to know.
Water bills need to go out. That office has been closed down for a while now, and I don't know what kind of mess there might be in there.
Of course.
So I thought that was probably the most important thing.
Residents pointed out the town needs to have eyes on who is running day-to-day operations in town hall.
You guys should always have cameras in this building right now to watch and see if somebody's taking anything off the top. Because it can happen. Somebody can be going through a hard time. There should be a camera.
One of the next decisions made by the council was to join the Waukesasa Water Cooperative. The group would consist of Otter Creek, Cedar Key, and Bronson. The goal of the group is to eventually bring Bronson town water to those other municipalities. While this meeting seemed more civil than the last, it didn't stop some fireworks involving the town's most vocal and viral resident.
You said corruption for 6 months. Corruption. Show us one bit of corruption. Let's get a forensic audit in here. And you show me one instance of corruption.
Residents inside and out of the town just want to see Otter Creek restored to how it used to be.
I didn't go hammer. I've seen it go bust. Well, gone away. Otter Creek is our neighbor. I'm trying to help maybe get the store going or something.
Interest shifting towards this Levy County town under new management. At Otter Creek, Cameron Lund, TV 20 News.